Hello, Adam here from HDTV Test, and I'm here today to take you through the HDR setup for Doom Eternal, which has been bringing people a little bit of hell into their living room for the last couple of weeks. Although for those of you with children, I imagine that you already have quite a lot of hell going on in your house right about now. Doom Eternal is somewhat unusual in that it offers five setup options for HDR. We're going to be focusing on the HDR output and the setup of the game rather than doing a full-on analysis here. But in a nutshell, the game offers a full peak output of 1000 nits with the equivalent of about 100 nits pay-per-white. And these settings are great for the majority of TVs on the market, and it's increasingly something that we're seeing in more and more video games as the kind of default option. But as we know, this typical HDR setup can be a little bit dim for many players, so the game by default is a little bit brighter out of the box. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with a baseline setup, and then we're going to adjust away from that to suit your needs and suit your taste. The results are impressive. It's clear to see it's a super good looking, ugly game. The HDR is over the top, which fits in with everything else in the game. If you're looking for something silly to push your TV's display capabilities in both resolution and just pure pop, then Doom Eternal is for you. The settings on offer allow you to adjust this to your taste, quite significantly in fact, almost like a miniature colour grade. There are 5 settings in total. This, however, has led many gamers to reach out and ask how they should set it up. So without any more delay, let's go through these settings, give you a good default baseline to work off, and give you a little bit of detail about each setting and what I would recommend you would adjust and which ones you don't. And these should be applicable across PC, PS4 and Xbox One versions of the games. Please note that there is a bug in the PC version that makes the map screen really dark when you're in HDR mode, and hopefully this has been fixed by the time this video hits. So as a baseline image, I recommend that you adjust the settings as follows, and this is what I actually use in a dark viewing environment. So this should give you a good foundation along the same lines of what we see from other well implemented HDR titles. If you're playing in a dark room on a premium TV, then you shall be good to go. However, watch on if you'd like a little bit more detail about which settings you may want to tweak if you aren't satisfied with my recommendation. The nice thing about the Doom menu is that we can make this adjustment with a reference image in the main menu, or if we hop across into game and pause it, and we can have a look at some real-time adjustments. Using the settings provided, all you should need to do is adjust the first option, HDR brightness, move it higher if you're playing in a brighter environment. This should be the most common adjustment that I imagine most players want to make. HDR saturation can also be adjusted to taste. This does quite quickly become painfully oversaturated, so you have to be really careful with it. HDR min stops will move the black point and crush the near blacks a little bit. So for those of you who find the setup a little bit grey for your taste, I found you could change this to about -8 without any major ill effects. HDR white point, just leave this alone. It's pretty much the same adjustment as brightness. The HDR max stops will move the white point and allow you to brighten up the highlights and crush the whites closer together. This 10 gives the greatest dynamic range, but for those of you who have sets that operate with a 4000 nit fixed tone curve, such as some of the older TCL sets and the 2016 and 17 LG OLEDs, you may want to decrease this a little bit to draw out some of the additional pop that you may have lost. You can take this all the way up to 6 if needs be, and this will significantly increase the intensity of some of the less bright highlights. And it's also another useful setting if you're playing in a brighter room. For another little bit of customization, and for those concerned with burn-in, Doom has a heads-up display opacity option, so you can fade the HUD in and out a little bit. So in summary, so some baseline darkroom settings to start with. Some settings if you want to play in a bright room, or if you simply want to have your eyes melted, and hopefully that should give you a little bit of an overview of which ones you should be changing. So many thanks for watching. If you found this video useful or interesting, hit the like button, leave a comment, come find us on Twitter, and we'll see you again some point in the future. Thanks.